Hello everyone, and thanks so much for all the support on my videos. Thanks for the likes, shares and comments, and thanks to everybody who supports me through buying me a coffee also as well. I'm very, very grateful. Today I want to speak about the proposed changes to the Irish Constitution that's due to be voted on here in Ireland this coming Friday, March the 8th. There are amendments to the Irish Constitution. The 40th and 41st Amendments to the Irish Constitution are proposed by the Irish government and political classes, and they have a couple of far-reaching consequences in my view. Now, there are already concerns around the whole messaging around this and the advertising of it through the Irish government, who have pushed the NGOs, the government organisations, who get a huge amount of public funding every year to push for a yes vote. Now, this flies in the face of the McKenna ruling, which was brought forward well over 20 years ago, about the use of the public funds to promote one side of the argument or debate, or issues we see now, for instance, as I said, with the NGOs pushing for this yes vote. So their funding is reliant on pushing the ruling party's narrative, and we've seen this now with the explosion of posters all around the place in Dublin and all around Ireland on one side rather than the other. But it's interesting because a couple of these changes will have far-reaching consequences in my eyes. First of all, there is a so-called care amendment which talked about the concept of the family beyond marriage to include durable relationships. Now, my problem with this is that there's no definition of what a durable relationship is, despite what they say in European law, and in fact it opens the door to chaos and a lot of stuff that is really, to put it mildly, unintended consequences, they would say. But again, it is complete chaos. It would have far-reaching consequences, for instance, around immigration law, many other issues as well, in terms of relationships also as well. Now, currently there is legislation in place in Ireland around one-parent families, cohabiting couples and guardianships and so forth as well. And in the context of this opens the door for anything to really take place, and really downplays the role of marriage in the Irish Constitution. Now, also, the next amendment would be around the care amendment, which is briefly around Article 41(2.1), which states that in particular the state recognises that by her life within the home, woman gives to the state a support without which the common good cannot be achieved. And Article 41.2.2, which says that the state shall therefore endeavour to ensure that all mothers shall not be obliged by economic necessity to engage in labour to the neglect of their duties in the home. And this has to be replaced with the proposal that the state recognises that the provision of care by members of the family by one another by reason of the bonds that exist between them gives society a support without which the common good cannot be achieved, and shall strive to support such provision. Now, I'd have a lot of concerns with this. First of all, obviously the removal of the word mother from the Constitution, the removal of the word woman also as well, and also the context of what's very important is the state shall strive rather than the state should endeavour. The state should be obliged to provide support for people. It should be extended to fathers and parents, I would argue, in this point. And I think it is vitally important that people are aware of what's the proposed changes could do, because this could have far-reaching consequences for people, and many vulnerable people in our society who are reliant on care through the state to provide that care, and it pushes the pressure back on families, and it pushes pressure again on people who are most vulnerable and most marginalised in society, which again is part of what the government have been pushing. And this is interesting because Varadkar, when he's spoken about this, he's typically muddied the waters, to put it mildly, and their spin has really muddied the waters as well, to say that they care for all the families. Well, they don't. In fact, you can see that day to day, where they're trying to attack people with disabilities to try and force them back into job activation programs. They're also trying to force more and more people struggle for proper supports, proper services around our community and around Ireland also as well. And also we'll see that many children now and families are in emergency accommodation, record amount of families are in emergency accommodation. So when they say this nonsense about value all our families, this is complete nonsense. It depends on the wealth of the families essentially to provide that care. And people who can't provide it by even to live independently as well are going to be hugely disproportionately impacted by this as well. People that are already vulnerable and suffering are ones that would be forced more over the edge, in my view. So it's vitally important when you're looking at this that you have to look upon the language that's being used. Strive to support is a much weaker term, in my view, to endeavour to support, and an obligation. And it was valued a number of years ago that the value in the care in the home, which isn't recognised under the current system, would be valued at least €55,000 per year. It is invaluable work that's carried out in the home, and it isn't rewarded by the current system, where it's all based on you're being commodified and what value you can bring to the economic chain rather than societal benefit that is offered through the value of people who care in the home, such as mothers, fathers, parents, and many more as well. So this is crucially important, and we know with the Irish government and the political classes about their just duplicitous doublespeak all the time, and they use the language such as value all our families, which portrays the undercurrent of the complete opposite in reality when you consider what's really happening on the ground with people. So for those reasons, I'll be voting no to both amendments to the Constitution. And look into the information yourself, and again, try and make your voice heard as well, because when they claim you have your best interests in heart, always research, inform yourself, and make yourself aware of all the facts to what's going on. So that's why this Friday, March 8th, I'll be voting no on both proposed amendments to the Constitution. We need to support people properly in our society, and the most marginalised and vulnerable, people with disabilities, mothers, women, fathers. People need to be supported to live in a decent society. So thanks for tuning in, thanks for supporting my videos. Please press like to my Facebook page, subscribe my YouTube channel, and also thanks to people who follow me on various other channels. So from Dublin today, take care. I'll talk to you all soon. Slán. Bye bye.